All right. Hey guys. So let's go ahead and jump on in to a part two. As you know, I did a part one and it was kind of getting to be a lengthy video and we needed to jump into a part two for this. So if you didn't see part one, it's a free link right there in the description box. You can catch that and then bounce back over here to part two. All right. But we are starting out right where we left off. A Queen of Wands is heavily on this King of Wands mind. And we saw the whole, it wasn't ever like a love triangle. It was more like a King of Wands was kind of in the wrong connection with the wrong person. And now the focal point is he's aware that that Queen of Wands is on his mind. He's also aware that in the past, that Queen of Wands seemed to have kind of been aloof or someone who kept to herself with that Hermit's card and then that Four of Wands. Let's take a look, and we want to pick up right where we left off because we were talking from his point of view when we left off. We've got the Ace of Wands sideways. He doesn't really know. Does she think of me like maybe I'm wrong? I know I'm attracted to her, but I don't really know if she ever really paid attention to me or if she was like more in her own mind and wasn't really drawn to me. The more he thinks about it, the more he's like, I'm really attracted to her, but I don't really know how she thinks about me. Was she attracted to me? He's kind of like blurry on that. I think maybe she was just polite. Maybe she's nice to everybody. I can't tell if she really liked me. But he's lying to himself. He knows that there was some kind of a vibe. He knows that. With that Seven of Swords, he knows he's lying to himself. Okay, so she definitely did confuse him a little bit. Four of Cups. Again, he's fighting himself over this concept of illusions. Maybe I've got it wrong, but man, I'm really attracted to her. But she was so like, there was always this huge chasm between us. What do you believe the chasm was, King of Wands? Break through the lies that you're telling yourself right now. And what do you think the chasm was? We have the Sun in the reverse. He's like, I don't really know. I think when I knew her, maybe she wasn't particularly happy. Maybe that's why she always came across as somebody who kind of kept to herself just a little bit. And yet you thought she was warm and you definitely think she's attractive. See, that's why all of these things don't quite fit together with the way the King of Wands like puzzled over her. Maybe it's just because she didn't make any like overt moves in his direction. Okay, let's talk to the Queen of Wands. She's the one who started our storyline out in part one, right? The first cards in part one were we had a Queen of Wands with that High Priestess thinking heavily about the King of Wands and aware that she was going to see him again and aware that there's some vibe between the two of them, but he hadn't known what to do about it. And in the meantime, it was like he was dating some Queen of Swords, and it was just kind of all under the surface that it's like the Queen of Wands knew he was attracted to her and she to him. But Queen of Wands, were you aloof when you knew him before? We have the Lovers. The Lovers, she might have said, well, we were cordial. There was an attraction. There was something there. But the Lovers is also a card of choice. Maybe there was a reason. We have King of Wands with the stars sideways. She either said, oh, he's very attractive. I like him. I think he's very attractive. I did at the very beginning. But I wasn't really sure if I would have been his wish, or maybe there was a distance. Maybe this is a difference in age. Maybe she's like, I'm a few years too old for him. I'm whatever in this age bracket. He's in that age bracket. Sometimes people make a big deal. We have 7, maybe it was like 7 years. He's 30, I'm 37. So I don't really think I'd be the person for him, but he's really great. And I know that there was like a vibe between us, but I really didn't know. She was on the fence, not on the fence about the fact that she thought he was wonderful, but she was definitely on the fence. Either I'm not sure if he's my wish come true, or I'm not sure that we would be that compatible. There were just too many unknowns, is what it looks like. There were just too many unknowns in her mindset in regards to him. Although the idea that they could have had a great attraction and that he was terrific, that was never in question. We have the Empress upright. She might have been saying, I'm at a phase of my life where, I'm looking for long-term, and I don't know. I mean, a King of Wands can certainly be long-term material, but, I'm looking for Emperor Empress scenario. She might have also had a child. Maybe she was a single parent or something. Maybe she's like, I don't know that he wants to step in and, you know, be in my world like this. Four of Wands. She definitely kept evaluating everything from the perspective of, is this somebody that I could picture me with in a long-term capacity? Is this somebody that I could see having a Four of Wands with? I know I'm looking for marriage. I'm looking for long-term. I'm looking for balance, temperance. So even though he's wonderful, he's a King of Wands. I'm thinking about Empress and Four of Wands type of relationship. Like long-term, that's marriage. She's saying, people, you have to be discerning enough to say, even if somebody is wonderful, you don't try to find what you're looking for in someone who maybe is not at that same place. And if there was something like, whatever, they're 30, I'm 37, for example, I only say that because we saw the Seven of Cups. So the number 7 was in my head. But that's why it's like, you know what, they probably want to stay single longer. That's not, I'm in a different segment of my life. That's too big an age gap, or too big. I've got 7 more years of life experience to explore than what they have. It doesn't have to be an age gap. It's just, I was asking like, what was the chasm I asked on his side? And he was kind of confused. He didn't quite know why, if I had some attraction for her and I kind of think she was attracted to me, why did nothing really happen? Why was she always still kind of aloof? What was it? And it does say the Queen of Wands, is one who kind of kept some distance, because in her head, she was saying, he's great, but I don't know that we would balance out. So she kind of made a decision. Yeah, Justice. She said, well, I'm not looking to get brokenhearted, and I'm not looking to, like date somebody who is wonderful, but if they're not ready for the same things that I am, then it would basically be, I don't want to get into a position where I tell him, you're so great, but honestly, you're not at the same place as me. So somehow then it feels like I'm insulting them, saying you're not, at my level, when that's not it. So she kind of wanted to stay away from him a bit, because there was something here where it's like, she didn't want anything to get imbalanced. And I actually think this was partially, maybe she's being a bit, you never want to make decisions for somebody else about what's right for them. That's not very respectful. People get to make their own decisions about where they're at, what they're ready for. So on one hand, we could read this as, she has done the whole situation wrong if she intentionally stayed aloof and made decisions like, oh no, he shouldn't be with me. Even if I am attracted to him, I can tell he's drawn to me. She doesn't get to make decisions for another person. Let them make their decisions, right? All of my stories are always going to be about grown-up adults that get to make their own choices in life, and nobody else should be telling them how their life has to be lived. And so that is, I don't think anybody wants another person to make a decision about love, especially, but I don't think many of us want anyone making decisions for us. That's just not, that always seems insulting, or it seems like, who the hell do you think you are making choices for me? So although we can see her rationale on all of this, I do think she kind of like wouldn't gravitate more toward him, even though she knew he was attracted, she was attracted, but she kept a distance between them, because in her head there was a distance there, and she started to make decisions like for him and for them about how this isn't okay. 5 of Coins. And she kind of like made sure she didn't get too close, and kind of, even though she was warm, I think she gave mixed signals. If we're going to be fair, I do think she gave mixed signals to him. And we don't know, was he already dating some Queen of Swords, or was she saying, look, I'm not going to flirt with somebody that is with somebody else. Let me just ask. Queen of Wands. Look, at one point in time when she knew him, he definitely was single, and she's single, and the two of them could have been a thing. So she knew him before he started dating the Queen of Swords. She gave him kind of some mixed signals, and eventually like pushed him away. So then he tries to start dating somebody else who he doesn't really match with. And now she's about to see him again. And she's aware we're still right where we were. I'm attracted to him. He's attracted to me. She almost, do you have a sense that he's now still with the Queen of Swords somehow? Seven of Coins. It's more like it's been some time. She doesn't know really what the situation is. Back in part one, we saw her saying, I'm about to see him again. And I don't know what this is going to mean. I have every suspicion there will still be some attraction between the two of us. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what to expect exactly. I just know that there's an undercurrent here. I kind of think she's at a place where if he's single, she would handle things differently. We have that Three of Wands. Three of Wands is all about if some time has passed and she's about to see him, whatever the situation is when she sees him, which I think this reunion is coming up very swiftly because we saw the Judgment card twice in part one. I think it's going to determine what happens moving forward. Either, let me just ask, Queen of Wands, you're about to go see him. You're about to encounter him again. What are you thinking about? Three of Coins. If he's single when I see him, I kind of already intuitively know we're going to start either trying to date or we're going to start cooperating. Somebody's going to somebody's house. We got two threes. One of them is a Three of Coins. The other was a Three of Wands. She knows this is going to be a door is opening now for the two of them to start interacting. And with that Ace of Swords, she's just kind of admitting it to herself. Okay, so you basically stayed away from him and you're not going to anymore because it's coming out as like it's a bit silly when they're two grown-ups. Actually, he looks older than her, so I don't know why she was trying to say no, he should be with someone other than me. I don't know what the distance was that she was putting between them for, like, what the real reason was. The only thing I could think of was age, but I don't know. He looks like an old soul, so she may be very surprised to discover that the reason she thought she shouldn't maybe admit that she was that attracted to him or think of him as a potential partner was because, like, oh no, I'm older, I got a couple of years on him or something, only to discover he's the one who's an older soul than she is. that could be ironic here. Okay, so let me just ask this. What are you feeling? You know that you're about to see her too. So we're back to the King of Wands now. King of Wands, what are you thinking about? Magician, Queen of Pentacles. He's thinking about manifesting some kind of lunch date, some kind of like temperance in the reverse. I almost think he's thinking, you know what? I think I might ask her a direct question. I think I might ask her something that she'd have to answer very directly and make her a little bit uncomfortable. What does that mean? Five of Cups. He might actually ask her something more personal, not to make her uncomfortable, like with cruelty, but rather, if we saw him say, I don't really know what her story was, she kind of was always a little bit aloof. It's like he's been wondering about her because he's been confused by her reaction with him. I don't know that she likes me, but I kind of thought that she did. But then she was a hermit. I don't know where our hermit card went, but we saw that back in part one. She was a hermit, and I never quite put my finger on what her situation was. It didn't quite make sense to me. And I would just say that this is him saying, the next time I see her, I at least need to ask a question, a more personal question. Not to be rude, but something that would give me some foundation of understanding who she is. Because I wonder that. I wonder if she got hurt. This almost feels more compassionate, more like he would just like to know. Ace of Pentacles. He'd like to do things different with her when he sees her. Maybe he's understanding, like, I wonder if she got really wounded at one point in time and I never figured that out about her. Maybe that's why she's like slow to warm up, slow to trust. So maybe if I approached her like a friend instead of somebody that there's this undercurrent with, maybe if I tried to be, Hanged Man. He really wonders about her. He needs to know who the Queen of Wands is because he doesn't understand her behavior, but he'd like to. But he's trying to put himself in her shoes. If only he would be able to understand what her story is. Two of Pentacles, he's still weighing it because he can't figure out, if I were in her shoes, what would make me move so slow and maybe give mixed signals. I'm trying to understand it because obviously he likes her. 10 of Wands, 10 of Cups, and the Tower. He's starting to envision, maybe when I see this Queen of Wands, maybe I talk to her, maybe I get something a little personal out of her. And then I start operating as like a friend to her. And maybe bit by bit, if she sees that I'm somebody who's safe, maybe she needs somebody who's safe. Maybe bit by bit, she'll warm up. Maybe I'll even be the person who helps her to kind of like lay down some of her guard or defenses and make her happy. And who knows, then she might really, really open up, because there's always been this weird distance between, like, she wouldn't let him approach too close to her heart. And he wants to kind of figure out why. He wants to kind of start thawing her out a bit. His attention is definitely turning toward the Queen of Wands, 8 of Wands, more and more. Like, that's his train of thought now. So let me just ask one final question in regards to the Queen of Swords, who seems to have broken up with you. 6 of Pentacles, it's like, yeah, I mean, honestly, she's great. She's, that Queen of Swords, we were more friends. I kind of know that we were friends. And with the 2 of Wands, I can't really say that it was a situation that I was ever really invested in. I was always kind of wondering, what am I doing with that Queen of Swords when I kind of think that I'm supposed to move onward. Look, the Queen of Swords is somebody, though, that he still either wants in his life as a friend. I don't know if that's going to get murky. Hold on. We've seen him with a lot of 2 of Wands. At some point, you're not going to be able to develop some relationship with the Queen of Wands that you want to feel safe, and then you keep this Queen of Swords as your bestie that you're still questioning. We've got that 9 of Cups sideways. I wonder if he didn't want to be single, if that's one of the reasons. It's like, yeah, the Devil and the Moon in the reverse. Okay, he's going to come to this realization also. You're not going to be able to blur lines. You will have to pick a full-on lane. You can't keep, well, I'll be friends with the Queen of Swords, but now I'm going to start dating the Queen of Wands. He got into a weird no man's land with the Queen of Swords now, even though I don't think she's in a no man's land with him. But he has to end things fully with the Queen of Swords, and that's going to become pretty obvious. Otherwise, he's going to blow it with the Queen of Wands. This is I'm sorry that all of these are such blurry, fuzzy lines, right? But he's becoming pretty clear. You can't be hanging out with the Queen of Wands trying to make her feel safe with you, and then meanwhile you're texting your palsy-walsies Queen of Swords that you used to date. Yeah, it's full on. You either pick the Queen of Wands 100% as you're building something with her, or it won't work. And I think he's realizing that. Even like, are you pre-thinking this? Page of Pentacles. I think he's like, I'm going to have this conversation with the Queen of Swords. Like, I think we're moving on. There really can't be any weird murkiness. Hierophant sideways. He doesn't know how to say this with the Queen of Swords, but the Queen of Swords has already dropped him. Let me go back to her just real quick. Queen of Swords, final message from you. 2 of Pentacles. 2 of Pentacles is like, he's great. We had a vibe for sure. But with the Ace of Cups sideways, we really weren't in love, were we? It's tough because the Queen of Swords is a great person. The King of Wands is a great person, but the King of Wands belongs with the Queen of Wands. And all of this kind of made a little bit of blurry, murky. It's like, I love you, but I think you're in love with the Queen of Wands, aren't you? The Queen of Swords knows it, and the Queen of Swords is like, you need to go be with the Queen of Wands. That's who you belong with. End of story. Whew, those were interwoven lives. Okay, I'm going to leave this here. Thank you guys for hanging out. Thanks for giving it a thumbs up.